Hello, BookTube, and welcome back to Psalm Sunday. We're going to read a psalm today on a beautiful sunny Sunday here in Boston, and we're going to read it multiple times. We're going to go through a whole bunch of translations and see what we make of it. This is a lot of fun to do. If you ever can, you should. It's easier for you to do this than ever before because you can do it online. You can do it with a simple Google search. There are sites that collate every bit of every major and minor English language Bible translation so that you can do this for fun. You can do this on your own. And once upon a time, it was so much fun to do before the internet. It was so much fun to do with a group of friends. Go to the nearest theological library or the nearest big bookstore and pull down a bunch of Bibles. Be plenty neat and plenty respectful, but pull down a bunch of Bibles and read the passages. Read parallel passages each and think about what the differences are, what they say, not just about the art of translation, but about the passage itself. It's actually also a very good, very, what's the word I want? Affirming form of Bible study. If you are a believing Christian, it really behooves you not to be weak in your faith. In fact, the Bible instructs you many, many times, your own Savior instructs you many, many times, not to be weak in your faith. Well, the foremost sign of weakness in your faith is if you need one particular translation of the work. The work is alive in your heart. It's written on your heart. You have been told that. That is your scripture. So reading competing translations should be only a source of joy and learning for you. I've always known that to be true with the Christians that I've had the fun experience of doing this with. It's wonderful Bible study in addition to everything else. That's not what these videos are for, but God forbid I ever start a series of videos on Bible study. Oh my God. That would surely break YouTube's tedium meter. But we're going to start with the King James Bible, the English Bible. Here in the Norton Critical Edition, I've sung the praises of this many, many times before. It is a monument of scholarship. Just look at the footnotes that you get. It's a monument of scholarship, and with full color maps and the signature of Norton Critical Editions, which is essays in the back about what you've just read, which I always thought meant that the Bible could not be done as a Norton Critical Edition. They split it up into two, the Old Testament and the New Testament, but even then I thought you couldn't do it. The text is too long. But nope, they did it for this. They've done it for the Tale of Genji. They can do it for anything. So we're going to turn today to Psalm number 100. And it's a short thing. This video won't take long. We're going to start with Psalm number 100, and we're going to start with the King James Bible. We'll move from the English Bible, the King James Bible, to the New English Bible. Then we'll do the Jerusalem Bible, and then we'll move on from there. Psalm number 100 is not long. It goes like this. Make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all ye lands. Serve the Lord with gladness. Come before his presence with singing. Know ye that the Lord, he is God, that it is that hath made us, and not we ourselves. We are his people, and the sheep of his pasture. Enter into his gates with thanksgiving, and into his courts with praise. Be thankful unto him, and bless his name. For the Lord is good, his mercy is everlasting, and his truth endureth to all generations. Simple as that. So while that's still ringing in your ears, let's move on to the New English Bible, which was specifically commissioned to clean up the archaic language of the original. Let's move on to Psalm number 100 in the English Bible. Acclaim the Lord, all men on earth. Worship the Lord in gladness. Enter his presence with song of exaltation. Know that the Lord is God, that he made us, and we are his own, his people, the flock which he shepherds. Enter his gate with thanksgiving, and his courts with praise. Give thanks to him and bless his name. For the Lord is good, and his love is everlasting. His constancy endures to all generations. Did you catch a difference there? Apart from the wording, there's something missing from that was present in the King James Version. Did you catch it? Probably you did. We're told, know that the Lord is God. He has made us, and we are his own, his people, the flock which he shepherds. But in the King James, it says, he made us, we did not make ourselves. And the part about us not making ourselves is gone. It's missing here. It's not eluded into the part about being sheep, although the word sheep is not mentioned. Flock is here instead. But Very interesting. And when you're doing this sort of comparative journey through a translation, you want to notice things like that, whether it's the Bible or anything else. You want to notice when not just a word, because words are fungible, right? They can mean anything. They can change from time to time. It's not just a word, but a rock concept, a basic concept. When a concept changes, or in this case, outright disappears, that's pretty interesting. You want to keep an eye on that. So let's move to the Jerusalem Bible and see how things change. We'll move to Psalm number 100 in the Jerusalem Bible. Acclaim Yahweh, all the earth. Well, that's a change right there. We have a name for God. Acclaim Yahweh, all the earth. Serve Yahweh gladly. Come into his presence with songs of joy. Know that he, Yahweh, is God. He made us, and we belong to him. We are his people, the flock that he pastures. Walk through his porticos, giving thanks. Enter his courts, praising him. Give thanks to him. Bless his name. Yes, Yahweh is good. His love is everlasting. His faithfulness endures from age to age. So again, no mention of he made us. He made us and we belong to him. But we belong to him is not the same thing as we made ourselves. So that's not there. Also, Yahweh is named instead of Lord or God. And porticos, that word porticos, takes the place of something else. How specific is that? You immediately want to know, right? When that one word pops up after two translations, nothing like it was in any of the others, you start to wonder, okay, what is the actual original word that's being translated? And can it bear this kind of elasticity? But there we have, that is Psalm number 100 in the Jerusalem Bible. I'm getting all my stuff here together so it doesn't fall all over the place. And then to finish up, we'll go to a one-person translation. The King James Bible, the New English Bible, the Jerusalem Bible, they were all done by committee. But it's sometimes very useful to go at a translation that's done by one person. In this case, Ronald Knox did the whole of the Bible, and the Old Testament and the New Testament. Let's go to him. He translates the Psalms into prose, not verse, and he also numbers them differently. So in the Ronald Knox translation, this is Psalm 99. And it goes like this. This is from much later than these others. Let the whole earth keep holiday in God's honor. So God has gone back to being God. He's not Yahweh anymore, and that's the first we've heard of holiday. Let the whole earth keep holiday in God's honor. Pay to the Lord the homage of your rejoicing. Appear in his presence with glad hearts. Learn that it is Lord, no other, who is God. We did not make ourselves. It was he that made us. You that are his people, sheep of his own pasturing, pass through these gates, enter these courts of his with hymns of praise. Give him thanks and bless his name. Gracious is the Lord, everlasting his mercy. Age succeeds age, and he is faithful to his promise still. Okay. All right. Promise? What promise? Oh, and we're back to, it was he who made us, we did not make ourselves. That was in 2 out of the 4. So you're not given a real sure answer here, which makes this all the more fun to do. Because you're going to hit things like that. You're going to start to learn to notice things like that. And then you're going to wonder, well, okay, these 4 translations don't agree. Let's get 4 more translations. And once you're done, the very first thing you should do, of course, is trust your own ear. What am I hearing that's different here? Obviously, if I'm hearing God instead of Yahweh, that is a difference. But what about the rest? 2 of these versions mention sheep. 1 and 2 do not. 2 mention flocks, pastures. Okay, so is the Hebrew word for sheep mentioned in the original document, or is it not? And if it isn't, then why is it in the translations that use it? To me, for this poem, this poem is short. You have to keep in mind most of the Psalms were sort of transliterated from church spoken ceremonies. So you would be in a crowd, the priest or the priests up on the altar would say one thing and you were supposed to say a response to it. The priest would raise up a mood and you had basically a pew hymn book of a response that you gave to that. And Psalm number 100, or 99 in Ronald Knox's case, is obviously just a song of thanksgiving. We've seen in many Psalms before a steady thread that runs throughout them all of a grievance, where the psalm singer is both praising God and sort of nagging him, Jewish mother style, about why he isn't better to his people. I'm being beaten up all around here, and you're nowhere to be found. A lot of Psalms vary back and forth between those two things in the same verse. We don't know for sure that they originated that way. It seems to me that a lot of those cases, it's pretty obvious that the Psalm was composed of the call and response. So it wouldn't have been the same person saying that in the liturgical service. It would have been two different groups of people saying that, but they're in the same psalm. I think that would explain the schizophrenic nature of some psalms. This doesn't have that. This is just sing praise to God. We are sheep in his pasture. He made us. We did not make ourselves. At least in a couple of these things. But I mean, this is all lots and lots of fun. It's lots and lots of fun to do this, to pursue, like, for instance, if you did this at your local theological library or your local theological reading room, believe you me, unless you get a real stinker, the docent at your reading group, your local library reading room or whatever, is going to be overjoyed if a group of you come in, especially the younger you are. They're going to be overjoyed. They're not going to consider this bad behavior on your part at all, provided you are courteous, which you should remember to be. So phones off and silent. Okay, no phones out at all. Instead, study the text. And that's a lot of fun. And when you're doing this, in addition to trusting your own ear, you are obviously going to start to consult any footnotes. We're avoiding footnotes here in Psalm Sunday, but you will obviously consult them to figure out, okay, why do these it seems almost like two versions of the same psalm. One of which is saying, you made us, we didn't make ourselves, and one of which is not saying that. Were there two? Is there a tradition of there being two different versions of this psalm? Maybe two literary traditions that it springs from? Once you've done these 4 translations, there'll be 4 other translations that you can consult. Add all of the footnotes, and no matter what, no matter whether or not you come to a definitive answer before it's time to go to soccer practice or whatever, you will be slowly building your critical muscles. This, as many people have pointed out, St. Augustine was one of the first to point it out, and Christopher Hitchens one of the last, and that was one of the only times those two ever been mentioned in the same sentence. This is the beginning of literary criticism. This is the beginning of the discipline of literary criticism, thinking critically. Once you have a reason not only to read multiple versions of the same text, but also to very much care about them. It's a different thing if you're reading 2 translations of Tacitus, but this text is holy to 6 billion people on earth. That gives an extra edge of urgency to figuring out what it's actually saying. And that sense of urgency, book people have that sense of urgency about everything. Bless them. But ordinary people are led into being book people by doing this kind of exercise. So I strongly recommend it. It's a beautiful psalm. But when we're talking about beauty, in addition to trusting your ear, what were the differences? Wait a minute, why does this sound different from that? How can I pinpoint that? What word is it? Was it the word portico? What word made this sound different? In addition to trusting your ear for that, and in addition to consulting footnotes for what does this mean, what can we make of this, those of you who are religious, who are believing Christians, oh my God, your pastor or priest or rabbi would love to help you with this sort of thing, unless you got a bad apple. And that's the way you'll know it. Believe you me, that's the way you'll know it, is if they roll their eyes and think, don't you have something better to do? Get them out of their job. Get them out of their job if they respond that way to you when you do something like this. Because this is their job. But anyway, in addition to all that, when we do Psalm Sunday, we also want to think about English. About the loveliness of what we're hearing. About the goodness of what we're hearing. And I think with Psalm number 100, we would pretty much have to give the palm. We'd have to give the victory to the King James. There is nothing in those other versions that we read that even comes close to the very first line. Make a joyful noise unto the Lord. What an amazing invocation. What an amazing way to put it. Make a joyful noise unto the Lord. None of the others do that. None of them ever come close to doing that. So I know that we're not here. This is not a beauty contest, but I'm going to give the lead to the King James for Psalm number 100 for this time around. Love to hear what you think, if there was a version that you like better. But anyway, we're going to wrap this up for now. It's a very short psalm, and we will open our hymnals again next week. So I will see you then. Thank you.